welcome to This Explainer. Today we're celebrating the extraordinary life and honestly the incredibly remarkable 45-year career of the late Anthony Head. But we're going to do something just a little bit different this time. Instead of just tracing a standard timeline of his life, we're diving straight into the distinct visual aesthetics of his most iconic roles. Because from television screens to the theatrical stage, Anthony Head was an absolute master of physical transformation. So let me ask you, which visual era of this brilliant actor immediately pops into your mind? If you're a child of the 90s, you probably picture him hidden behind a pair of glasses in a slightly dusty tweed jacket. But hey, if you're a more recent fan of streaming comedies, you're likely picturing him in an impossibly sharp, super expensive tailored suit. Or, if you were lucky enough to catch him on the West End, you might just picture him in a corset and fishnets. His Buffy the Vampire Slayer co-star, Charisma Carpenter, actually hit the nail on the head when describing her very first impression of him. Get this. She met him in the production office and was just completely thrown off. She noted he had an earring, Converse high tops, and these wildly striped pants. This real-life, kind of punk-inspired aesthetic instantly shattered the stuffy, buttoned-up illusion of his most famous character. It proved right from the jump that his on-screen looks were carefully, deliberately crafted performances. I mean, over a staggering 45-year career, he was a true visual chameleon. He didn't just read the lines on a page, he completely inhabited the physical aesthetics, the posture, and the wardrobe of his characters. He inherently understood that how a character stands, how they dress, and how they physically occupy space is just as crucial as the dialogue they're speaking. Tracing his career reveals this incredible timeline of unforgettable looks, totally defined by massive aesthetic shifts. We start way back in 1987 with a coffee-sipping suave neighbor, then we evolve into a tweed-wearing demon researcher in 1997, put on the heavy, regal armor of a king in 2008, and finally step into the pristine, intimidating, tailored suits of a cruel football club owner in 2020. Part 1. The suave romantic, brewing a national obsession. Let's step back to the late 1980s. Long before he was fighting off vampires, Anthony Head literally captivated the entire UK as the charming lead in a series of Nescafé Gold Blend coffee commercials. To put this into perspective, an astounding 30 million viewers tuned in just to watch the finale of a coffee ad. 30 million. The tabloids were splashing the story across their front pages. The whole nation was absolutely desperate to see if his character's romance with his co-star Sharon Morgan would finally progress. His debonair visual presence turned a basic marketing campaign into a massive cultural phenomenon. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why those ads worked so well on a psychological level. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Basically, it's a quirk where interrupted or unfinished tasks stick in our memory way better than completed ones. By constantly leaving the audience on a cliffhanger, his suave, unresolved on-screen persona literally percolated in the public's memory, completely establishing him as a prominent leading man. Part 2. The Tweed-Clad Watcher, Mentorship and Magic. So, in 1997, he trades the romantic coffee dates for a high school library full of demons. Crossing the Atlantic to become Rupert Giles in Buffy introduced what is arguably his most globally recognized visual era. And his immense range was on full display within this single show. On one hand, you have the stuffy, tweed-wearing mentor, lots of muted earth tones, and constantly cleaning his glasses. But then you have his character's shocking Ripper alter ego on the other. In episodes where adults revert to their teenage selves, he completely transformed his physicality. He swapped the tweed for a rolled-up t-shirt, dropped that rigid posture for a loose, aggressive swagger, and flawlessly embodied a punk rock dark magic practitioner taunting the cops. Talk about visual whiplash. I believe the subtext here is rapidly becoming a text. He delivered some of the absolute best, most quotable lines in television history with exactly that kind of tone. And what made his performance so iconic was the physical restraint. He combined this highly reserved, almost stiff physical delivery with incredibly dry British wit. The comedy came from the pure visual friction of a deeply proper, formally dressed man reacting to absolute supernatural absurdity. But wait, his visual and vocal transformations extended far beyond the TV screen, right onto the theatrical stage. He was actually a classically trained singer who originated roles in major West End revivals. It's just amazing to realize he was just as comfortable belting out songs in the corsets and fishnets of Dr. Frank Enferter as he was wielding a sword as the Pirate King or, breaking all our hearts with his rich baritone in Buffy's famous musical episode. Part 3. The Sharp-Suited Villain. Ruling with an Iron Fist.
As the decades rolled on, he weaponized that authoritative posture to become a genuinely commanding antagonist. Comparing his later iconic roles really highlights this brilliant shift. In the BBC's Merlin, he played King Uther Pendragon, using heavy armor, crowns, and this incredibly rigid, unyielding posture to project a stern, magic-hating ruler. Then, jump forward to Ted Lasso, where he played the billionaire Rupert Mannion. Here, the armor was replaced by impeccably tailored, aggressively expensive suits. Two entirely different wardrobes and eras, but he used his physical presence to become terrifyingly effective villains in both Camelot and modern-day London.
Well now, that would have made me a real piece of work, wouldn't it? As Rupert Mannion, he weaponized his natural suave charm. He'd deliver biting, manipulative, and just deeply infuriating dialogue with his calm smile and absolutely perfect posture. It was an aesthetic of untouchable wealth and smug superiority. And honestly, despite how truly awful the character was, we literally couldn't look away from the screen when he was on it.
Yet, the real magic of Anthony Head was that this cruelty was entirely a visual and vocal performance. As his co-star and writer Brett Goldstein pointed out, playing the worst person in the world with such incredible skill was a huge testament to his pure acting ability. Why? Because in reality, he was universally known by casts and crews as the absolute best person. He was infinitely charming, kind, generous, and just a total joy to be around. Part 4. Tributes and Lasting Legacy. Tragically, in 2026, Anthony Head passed away at the age of 72, leaving the entertainment world completely heartbroken. There was this immediate, massive outpouring of grief from fans who grew up watching him and colleagues who simply adored working with him. The tributes were incredibly moving, especially a devastating post from Sarah Michelle Gellar. She wrote, "Tell Giles I figured it out and I'm okay. Well, I don't have it figured out and I'm not okay, but I know I'm the lucky one because I knew you." By quoting that famous line from their show, she expressed the profound heartbreak of losing the man who, beneath all those tweed jackets, was a genuine, real-life mentor and friend to her for decades. His actual daughters, actresses Emily and Daisy Head, summarized his impact perfectly. They reminded us that while the loss is immeasurable, we are all incredibly lucky to still be able to pull up these shows, watch his masterful performances, and see him do exactly what he loved most in the world. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. Anthony Head proved that acting isn't just about the words you say, it's about the visual story you tell with your entire presence. The next time you watch an actor completely transform their identity just by buttoning a tailored suit or putting on a dusty tweed jacket, will you think of the master who perfected the art? I really hope you take a moment to reflect on the immense, unforgettable legacy of television's ultimate